Hello, friends.
Hello, this is Dave.
I don't hear you. It probably is me, though.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Is that working?
Yes,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you, Pipewire, or whatever Linux just switched to. So I'm not sure if Ben is joining.
Do you want me to ping him?
Yeah, I'm just going to send him a text real quick.
All right.
We do have an agenda. Hmm. Ben said he'll be late on Slack. Okay, cool. Well, we can get started with the usual and introductions. I'm going to click record. Nope, I don't have host privilege. Does anyone have the host key? Chow, anyone?
It's already recording.
Oh, is it? I don't see that, but I'll believe you. Cool. Well, just a quick reminder that this call is recorded, so don't say anything you don't want on the public internet. And just a reminder that this meeting and all Kubernetes meetings abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, so please be excellent to each other. With that, we have a handful of folks on the call. Seems to be the first call in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I guess we can start off with some introductions while we wait for Ben to show up. Is anyone here for the first time that would like to introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Rajat. I'm a junior year student, BTech student from India, and I am currently learning Go and Go testing. So I'm also learning Kubernetes as a part of my GSOC project that is in Jenkins X. So I thought it would be great to just come here and know a little bit more about Kubernetes and how testing works here. Yeah, that's from my side.
Awesome, welcome.
Sure. This is also my first meeting. I was there at KubeCon Europe. I saw a bit about SIGs and I thought to hop on over to SIG testing and to see how things go. So yeah, I was there at KubeCon Europe and I just got to know about SIG testing.
Cool, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
This is Dave Chen. I work for ARM Limited, and I'm an open source engineer. And currently, most of my time is focused on the Kubernetes and some other project around the Kubernetes and the Docker. So I think this is the first time I joined the SIG-Testing regular meeting. It's very happy to meet you here. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Anyone else? Cool. Dave, I see that you had a item on the agenda. Do you want to start with what you have there?
Yes. What I'm talking is about the Ginkgo migration. Currently, the PI is ready and it has been reviewed by several maintainers, and it has pending for more than three months, I think. So basically, I think the PI is in good shape, and I just need some more eyes on this PR. And the background for the PR is that the Ginkgo v1 has been formally deprecated. The Ginkgo is the framework of the E2E. We can benefit from the new features provided by the Ginkgo v2 and some workaround. I think there's some workaround in Kubernetes, which is exists to address some issues for the Ginkgo v1. So I think it's better for us to migrate to Ginkgo v2. But I understand that Ginkgo is the framework of the E2E test framework. The impact will be a little bigger. So we need. I think we need more review comments on the PR. The current state is that we have a PR for the Kubernetes and another PR for the test infra. And also, we have one PR to address Ginkgo V1 dependencies in Open API repository. Overall, I think we have 3 PR ready to migrate the Ginkgo from the V1 to V2. So this is the overall status of this feature. So yeah. Is there any comments on that PR, or if you are interested in the change, you might provide some leave some comments on that PR directly. So
I see that you did a mailing list email back in April about telling people about this.
yeah.
It might be a good time to bump that to the top of everyone's inbox and let them know that we need some more eyes on it.
Yeah. Sure. So I hope Ben is here, so I could ask his opinion on that. So I can move forward this feature. So I'm not sure is there anything concerns from others. So I just want to bring this to this meeting, and I want to get some feedback on this.
Gotcha. Yeah, Ben just texted me back. He said he's on his way to his desk right now, so hopefully he joins shortly.
Okay. No problem. So I can ping him in Slack. Or I can ping him on the PR. Yeah. So I also hope and or encourage other guys who is interested in the Ginkgo migration could take a look at the PR and just leave your comments there. I think I will address these comments as soon as possible in my side.
Is there this needs top level approval, right?
Yeah. Jordan has done some reviews in the past several months and dropped some good suggestions. And I think most of the comments has been addressed. So we need some guys from the SIG-Testing to leave some LG to me labels or approve labels, so I can ping Jordan for the final review. Yeah.
Chow or Linus, do you have anyone who could take a look at this on your side too?
Well, maybe you need to mute there. Okay. I'm not sure. So we are the Proust team, to be more specific. I just took a look at the testing for PR. It's not controversial. It's pretty minimal. But I don't really have much, or our team doesn't have much context on Ginkgo. So I'm afraid we probably won't be that helpful in this space.
Okay, no problem. So the PR in the test infra, just one approach towards to migration. So if we take a look at the PR in the Kubernetes, we have finally added another commit in the Kubernetes to add alias for the build. So with that change, there's no need to no need to add another change in the test infra. So we can just abandon the change in test infra finally if we got the PR in the Kubernetes merged finally. So the big problem from my side is that we should first find someone who could approve the PR for the Ginkgo migration in the Kubernetes. Yeah, that is the first priority for my side. Okay, no problem. I will try to ping some stakeholders offline. Yeah.
I think Ben just joined us actually.
Hi, it's me. Like semi-joined from the office. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, we're talking about the Ginkgo V2 PR.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very much on my radar. I'm trying to get to some KEPs first. And I've got a couple of things going on personally, but I'm hoping to get back to that. If not, we actually have a lot of approvers in the test package. Last I checked, we can probably poke someone else if I'm not getting to it quick enough.
Hello, Ben. Okay, Ben is mute.
Do we also need these changes to to E2E framework project?
Ben, you're muted.
That's a good question. We probably do there, though we're not. Kubernetes as a project isn't currently using that. Sort of more of a, like, we're exploring what would make sense for other people to use. So I don't think that. I think it's been a little while since I put up with that project, but last I saw it wasn't using these things. But we should double check with them and make sure that we're staying in sync on like supported versions of things. I'm pretty sure it's actually more of a like just standard Go test framework. But it's been a while. I stepped out of that project. We should check with them.
Yeah, we use the end-to-end test framework for all the 6CLI kube control tests.
Which framework though? Because a lot of times when people are talking about the E2E framework, they're referring to the thing that's in the Kubernetes repo. There's another project SIG-Testing has to try to write one that's actually meant to be used outside of the main repo. The one in the main repo we've voted against, like staging or something.
Yeah, we use the one that's built in. Cool. So the action there is we need some more eyes on it. Dave, you said that you will ping some people offline as well. And I would also bump your mailing list thread, telling folks we need some more reviews and eyes on it too.
Yeah, it's a big enough change that I feel like I would kind of prefer that we get like multiple people to check everything, as opposed to the usual just like, okay, you know, we met the approval bar. Yeah, it would be good to get a couple of folks looking at that who've been you know, writing E2Es recently as well. I think we've got a few on there, but I think it would be a good call to action to the community, because also I think there's a few changes that will impact writing tests, if I recall correctly.
Cool. Any other thoughts on the V2 Ginkgo topic?
Just a question. Are there any significant changes between V1 and V2 when it comes to just test writing? things that we should be concerned about or something like that?
Are you able to answer that, Dave?
Which kind of concerns you mentioned?
Yeah, for example, if we are interested in writing tests, right? We are pretty much used to the V1 way to write them. Are there any significant changes or things that we'd have to look for or look after when switching to V2?
I think for most of functionality, there's no change at all. Just for the it brings some new features to improve the test framework. So if you are just a ordinary user, there's nothing changed at all. But if you are looking for some brilliant new features, I think the V2 is better. So
Okay,
there's
thanks.
not long list of the features provided by the Ginkgo V2. You can go to the Ginkgo official website to check out the feature list. So yeah. So there's not much changes for if you just want to write test case and check the and verify some functionality for the E2E. Yeah, there's no worries at all, I think. So most of the change we need for the Kubernetes is for the customer reporter migration, and we have rewrite the reporter with V2. So it will be okay for me if we start to use Ginkgo V2 in Kubernetes.
Cool. Claudia, do you want to move on to your topics on here?
Yeah, so we're currently planning to have unit tests running for at least Kubernetes. And I have sent a couple of pull requests which address a couple of issues which causes unit tests to fail on Windows. The first 3 pull requests are fairly straightforward. Most of them are basically related to the fact that for some reason file path adjoin was not used when constructing paths or stuff like that. Pretty much trivial stuff. Things can get a bit more complicated in pull request 4, which might actually contain some debatable stuff. It might also contain a few bug fixes for various things because of how they've been written. So basically, currently need some help with the review for those pull requests, and then afterwards we can potentially think about maybe add a pre-submit unit test for Windows as well, because I have noticed quite a few interesting bugs as well for Windows, which we might want to avoid in the future. For example, this something like a pattern that I saw quite a few times. There's path and there's also path/file path as modules. There are cases in which path is used, functions from path are being used and they do not function properly on Windows. For example, path.join just puts a normal slash between the paths that it joins instead of the OS specific path separator, which on Windows should be a backslash, which causes quite a few issues. For other example, path.dir simply returns point instead of the parent folder and so on and so forth. Stuff like this could be avoided in the future if we actually enable some unit tests. I have sent 5 pull requests in total. I still have something like 5 unit tests that are failing, which I'm currently investigating, but it seems to be some sort of race conditions or flakiness there, which I cannot yet pinpoint, but I will at one point and send the 6 pull request afterwards. Then we could add the Windows unit test jobs afterwards. But having those pull requests merged until then would greatly help.
And what type of approvals do you need right now? These are SIG approvals or top level?
They basically span the entire Kubernetes project. So mostly top level, because having per module itself, getting approvals that might be a bit more complicated. For example, the first pull request mostly deals with kubelet unit tests. The second one for volumes, and the rest of them are various modules for pretty much anyone and everything. Again, first 3 pull requests are mostly unit tests and trivial changes, and the fourth one onwards are a bit more complicated, and including actual code changes to how things work.
Are we able to turn on the, do we have a Windows job running? Can we turn a Windows job that's informing and not blocking for PRs?
There's an E2E Windows job that is currently running. There should be already one called something like CapZ Windows, something like that. We can have that one running, for example.
Yeah, we have some E2E coverage, but we've got unit test breakage. Eddie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think for new code that gets put in. I don't want this to be a rat race for, you know what I mean, Claudio, tracking them down as new tests get added.
Yeah, I think that we should probably be looking to actually. So the problem is, we don't want an explosion of pre-submit. We're trying to avoid everything being in pre-submit unless we see it's breaking really frequently. So first of all, we should start in like periodic or post-submit and see like how is the signal. If anything, we're trying to look at, can we remove some of the jobs, because getting a PR merged is a nightmare. I think this could be a good candidate for pre-submit. We should start in post-submit periodic. That will also possibly make it a little bit easier from an infrastructure perspective, unless we're going to ask more folks. Since Prow doesn't have Windows, we either have to have Prow spin up a Windows machine and then like remotely clone Kubernetes and run the tests and basically re-implement all of the useful CI things by like SSHing or whatever equivalent for Windows to like a GCP.
You can SSH into Windows nodes.
Cool.
Pretty much all Windows nodes should already have OpenSSH installed on them as well.
Right, but we are either we have to set up some kind of Windows infrastructure like this, either on a per job temporary basis, or someone has to like set up a Windows cluster in the infrastructure. I think that depending on how much work we want to ask of folks, it might be reasonable to suggest actions just to get some like periodic signal. But at this point, I don't think I think that if you wanted to run Windows directly in Prow, I don't think anybody would oppose that, but I think it's asking a fair bit of whoever wants to set up. You're going to have to you're also going to have to get test infra, everything functioning there. You're going to have to get Windows container images built for all the Prow components and get CI running for that. We currently do most of the testing in that project with like kind E2Es and unit tests that are all Linux as well. Or instead of like fully getting Prow running on it, like have a Prow Linux job that remotes into some Windows infrastructure. I don't think we'd be opposed to any of those things. I think it might be a lot of work. So my first suggestion would be it's probably reasonable to start getting some signal by just using GitHub Actions as a like a periodic or a post submit. The only real
Okay.
downside there is that you can't get test grid integration. So if you want release blocking, then it's probably, then I think probably getting it onto Prow is the best route. One of the options for getting it on Prow.
The other small downside is that Tide can't retest those GitHub Actions as well.
But if we're starting not in pre-submit, that's fine because that's null.
True.
But yeah, if you're planning to get it in pre-submit or you're planning to get it in release blocking, having the Tide having the merge robot integration and having the test grid integration are both I think pretty important for either of those things. In which case I think we're either talking about a Prow Linux job that remotes to some probably ephemeral Windows infrastructure, which is going to be a bit of a pain and slow probably, or figuring out getting Prow itself to have Windows node pools, which is also probably going to be a pretty big diff because things like we'll need to make sure that all the existing job pods scheduled to the correct OS, and I think there's a pretty large long tail there to actually spin that up. I imagine it would, whoever works on this, that's going to take a while.
Are we able to get linting rules for those types of things? Not using file path join and stuff?
That's pretty hard to lint correctly because there's cases where, like if we were to, for example, if you're talking about like kubectl exec or CP or something and you're doing things with container paths, then it should be path, or if it's like URLs, there's lots of valid uses of either. We could maybe come up with some way to say like this package should be using it, but I don't think you're going to have a very accurate heuristic for this. Also, I can say from past experience of like just our Linux unit tests not passing reliably if you clone the repo and run them, that's a pretty frustrating first interaction to hacking on the project. It would be great to actually run the Windows unit tests and know that they work. I think that is a very reasonable thing for us to be doing. It just, depending on how far we want to take it, that might be pretty involved given that we don't have any Windows infrastructure today.
Okay. I think we might have some plans for that as well. We'll have to check up with my colleagues regarding that. But yeah, those are some good ideas to be had. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Windows testing here? Cool. That was what was on the agenda. Any other last minute items people want to discuss? Ben, Cole?
Sorry. I do want to just briefly mention, if you type docs.prow.cates.io, there's a documentation site for Prow. It's been up for a while, but we are in the middle of migrating a number of README files from the test infra repo to this new docs repo that is basically the host for all of these. What you're seeing on that site, there is a legacy snapshot, like top level folder that has like a snapshot of various READMEs from Prow, from the Prow repo. The idea is to kind of move those out from that directory and make it more accessible from a different location on that site. As far as I know, I'm the only one who is working on this, but it would be nice to have some help here. Yeah, that's it.
Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? All right. Ben, unless you say otherwise, I guess we can give everyone 30 minutes back.
I've got nothing. I'm I'm happy to see that we've had the topics we have had and so much attendance today. Thank you all for coming, and sorry it's late. Thanks, Eddie, so much.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Have a great one.